Dr. Moses was also introduced by Dr. Mate, but Dr. Mate prefers Moses. So Moses, please bear with us there. And then Dr. Danyan, he's also been around with us for a while as a fellow, and Dr. Muvunzi. So if you look at the panel, it's sort of like, it's like additive people, you know, so, because it's only maybe Dr. Oyesola who's not an additive person. So maybe I'm thinking that it would be nice if we can have some other skills in this panel. So I want to call our master's colloquium colleague. We discussed shortly outside that we need to go to the PhD, so maybe this is prophetic, so you can come and join the panel so that we've got somebody who's doing some electrical stuff, you know. Life is not just about industrial engineering. So, yes, please come. And then I need somebody who's also from the mechanical way of life. So I'm going to ask Dr. Tupi Ua. Yeah, we would like you to join the panel here. We want to hear one or two words of wisdom from your side. For the people who are online, Dr. Aderoba, are you able to unmute and speak to us? Is the system working? Please unmute and let's try. It doesn't look like Dr. Aderoba life is working with him today, but one day is one day. And then we need somebody from the polymer side as well, because, and by virtue of our panel being a bit too male dominated, we need to make sure that we clean it up. So I'm going to ask Ms. Mufeba to please come and join us here in the panel. Do we still have another chair? Aderoba can hear me, but he cannot speak to me. Yeah, but here we need voice, you know, Honorable Aderoba. We work with voice. Oh, he's unmuting, but he can't unmute himself. But it shows that he's not unmuted there, except if it's my eyes that are getting young. His video is on. Which video? Oh, this one is not working. Apparently, Dr. Aderoba's video is on. Yes, we can even, is that his head? Yeah, it's his head, it's moving. I thought it was a picture of him. So he even put his hand to demonstrate that. So I don't know why the audio is not coming through, but Dr. Aderoba, just be there, you know, our technical team here will try and see if they can clean up house and sanitize the system. Okay. So, I wanted to play that video. So last night we, the technical team, if you can assist us there, just to play that 2-minute video. And I want us to pick up our debate from what is on the video. So while you're doing that, I also want us to be really engaged. So I'll kindly ask that we, you know, close our laptops a bit, you know. Just give the laptop a break, you know. You know, sometimes the laptop begins going, it knows that, hey, this member is not giving me a chance to rest. So just let it rest for now, let's talk, you know. This is the last time that we have to talk. I think we can make use of this time in a thorough manner and talk heart to heart. You heard Martin, eh? Not hand to hand, but heart to heart. Is that correct, Martin? Yes. For me, on that question, I think even if you don't have the the brains and the hands. If you have the heart, we can go somewhere. Because the other things can be solved. Even the good book says that it's issues of the heart. You know, life are issues of the heart, not the issues of the hands. You know, so are you good with the video? So we'll play the video, and I will ask the colleagues some questions. Mufeba is here. Somebody disappeared. Doctor, is he fine? He's writing a paper. No, it's not the time to write the paper. We just said that the laptops must be closed, Musa. Okay, so we're going to play the video, and then I will ask the question that I would like us to address today here in this room. You know, it may be a politically charged one, but I think it's important that we speak about it, you know, in a very honest way, and especially now that it's Africa Day and we just sang the national anthem. We need to take this time as Africans to talk about these things. Isn't that so? So you can go for it. Let's play the video. The network is dead. But I thought the video is from the memory stick. Oh, the people online won't see it. Yeah, but you can play it for us here and then post it on the chat, and then they can pick it up on the chat. With us coming here and spending time here, how can we create that revolution when the next time people hear that you're going to university, their understanding is that when you come out, you're running to be the next Elon Musk. And at the core of this project, this is what this we project are saying is that about, with us coming here and spending time here, how can solution when the next time people hear that you're going to university, their understanding is that when you come out, you're running to be the next Elon Musk on TV, you know. But you can actually say that, and at the core of this project, this is what this project is about, you know, and this is why we've deliberately taken this time to say, let's partner with Gibela, let's look for people who are like-minded, so that, you know, we don't hear about Elon Musk on TV, you know, but you can actually say that, you know, there's a place where I assessed, you know, a person was presenting on their research. I gave them a couple of advice. They took it very seriously, and they've moved to a place where a student would have never dreamed they would have been at without that industrial advice.
So I'm trying to say, let us gauge where we are, as much as the models that we are probably still emphasizing are about to be obsolete. But unfortunately, where we are today, we still need to focus on the basics, which is, you know, optimization.
The point around sponsorship, for any projects that we're going to come up with, I will ensure that there is a sponsor for it internally. That makes it easier for access of information, for review of what you have written, if it's okay for public consumption, for support in entering the factory. So without a sponsorship, these other things that you need to support your studies will not be easy.
From a relevance perspective, where are we as a country? Where are we as compared to European countries? We are in the process of revitalizing an industry that has been neglected for years, okay, versus other countries where they are quite advanced, okay? So it goes to a point of we need to answer to the problems that we have at hand. And the problems that we have at hand is that transport, okay, as a solution is not yet adopted as a primary mode of transport.
The only thing that you may be able to take home maybe is that video. But in the context of these future technologies that future digital technologies that we are talking about here, or some of them already live, and it's Africa Day today, I think as Africans we must have an honest conversation about should we, I think there's the Elon Musk idea, né? And conspiracy theorists say that, people like Elon Musk, they are created deliberately, just to show you that some things you just can't do. But they create them deliberately, they resource them, they make them happen, so that you look at yourself and realize, hey, I'm an ant, I can't get there, Should that be our ideal that we're looking up to as we pursue these technologies? Or maybe what Komako is saying, that let's deal with the basics. So what I want you to do, I want you to write your thoughts before you start reflecting other people's thoughts. I want you to write your thoughts on a piece of paper. That's very important for this conversation. Or what maybe Mulalo was saying, because Mulalo was speaking about access of information, which maybe from the discussions that we've been having seems to be a huge issue. Did the colleagues online get the video? Or we are still trying to sort that technicality out? Okay. So I'm going to give us 3 minutes. Don't talk to anyone. This is not the part where you open the mouth. This is the part where you take the pen and you don't take the phone, you put the phone down. You don't type it on the phone, you write it. Bongik. That's not a writing tool. Tools for courses. Or you are writing on the phone. Prof, we have to be? Maybe that's fine. Maybe type it onto the phone, digital people. But maybe that's also another debate, Sometimes when you get a piece of, something happens in your brain when you get a pen and you need to pen something. When it's on the phone also, you've got this colloquial language, but I mustn't disturb you. Your 3 minutes starts now. And the panelists as well, the same applies to you. You need to have your own thoughts about this. Get your pen, get your notepad, and scribble what you think is the way to be going. Walk a bit, and walk fast, Dr. Dan. Don't walk like you are tired. One more minute. Thank you very much. Time up. So at this juncture, this is not the part where you talk, Paul. This is the part where you listen very attentively. By the corner there, Paul and Dineo. This is the part where you pay attention earnestly. So I'm going to ask the mic to start off from Tebogo here. In 1 minute, actually in 30 seconds, we all need to pay attention to the thought that Humutso has around this matter. Tebogo has around this matter. 30 seconds, Tebogo, ne? Please don't put me in the Mamazala situation where I need to reprimand. Is that okay? So 30 seconds, your thoughts on this matter, succinct to the point. Then you hand the mic to the next person, and then it goes around until it gets to Mamazala. Are we together? Okay? Yes, let's go for it. Dr. Muvunzi has a mic there.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Just in brief, my thoughts, what's been on my mind. Just to sum it up, I can say it's affordable technology to the poor in terms of renewables.
So from my thought is, let's start with the problems highlighted in industry. Let us set up key performance indicators, timelines, and have deliverables as we work together.
Thank you so much. My own thought is that the digital and the emerging technologies have come finally to stay, and the onus is on the organizations, to embrace some of these digital technologies and adjust their business model. We have so many of them talking about the smart sensor, the additive manufacturing, predictive maintenance, the use of cloud computing, big data analytics, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much.
My thoughts on the matter states that, is our research good enough for localization? What economic crisis is this research going to resolve? Reducing the number of imported materials for 3D printing will resolve our economic crisis. And if I have to produce this material, then I'll be one step ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. My thoughts on this, we should start by looking at what are the criteria that will ensure future manufacturing and technology in terms of, with regards to transportation. First of all, we have to look at accessibility, and also we have to look at comfortability and also safety of our future technologies. So with that, we need to bring technology into place, digital technology, to ensure the transformation needed that will ensure maximum revenue, reduce costs, improve quality, and even increase flexibility that we all desire. Thank you.
Looking on the improvement of the transport industry, from this point of view, what are the government policies towards the improvement of transportation? I think it will go a long way in addressing that problem statement. Then secondly, I'm thinking about this copyright restriction. Is there any copyright restriction in a component production when it comes to manufacturing any vital component?
My thoughts is that we need to ensure that the economic output happens through the empowerment of people.
I'm not totally interested in any solution that is going to put people under distress. And the Japanese societies now, with their version of the NDP, talking about a super smart society that is going to lead us to the Industry 5.0. So we must think of how these digital technologies will impact the livelihoods and the lives of people. Mandla.
My take on this matter is that there is a potential of revitalizing the rail transport industry. With the sponsorship mentioned in the video, the technologies can be unlocked. If we could involve our commuters in these technologies, we could speed up the adaptation and reduce the rejection of these technologies.
Thanks. Technology is the key driver of growth of any country. And with the awareness that we have now going into the fourth industrial revolution and then coming up to the reality, it will allow us for more efficient production and better goods and services will be produced. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. As we are saying about this, these are future technologies. It's where we are selling things that people are not familiar with. And so we need to be patient because some of these things, we are selling things we don't really have. And then also, this is the fifth workshop. And what I'm seeing is that industry is willing to, travel this journey with us, but somehow, when we are implementing, because now we are talking, when it comes to execution, our execution is not guided. Martin pointed out to that to say the policies are not there from a university point of view, from an industry point of view. So there's a lot of work outstanding in terms of policies to support innovation. Thank you.
So I'd like to give a bit of context to my answers. And I'd like to say today we're talking about Elon Musk because we say he's one of the greatest innovators in the world. He introduced the electric car, he brought in SpaceX, he brought in additive manufacturing into space travel. But before he became successful, there was an Elon Musk who actually first had to believe in his idea first. So my first answer would be believe in your idea first. Secondly, be sincere about your idea. Whatever you're going to introduce, make sure that it actually does work and it's applicable. Then the last part would be, let's try to be radical. Let's try to move from the old things of doing things. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe in positive affirmation, determination, and courageous attitude will cement us and establish us to what we want to have. Thank you.
Thank you. My idea in terms of improving transportation is as much as we want to catch up with the Western world, we must also look at the people in our community who are, for example, in Limpopo, and make sure that we are bringing them along as we are also looking at research and innovation. So our research and innovation should not only be forward, but also look backward to all go together to the technology that we want to embrace.
Thank you very much. I've got 3 items that I would like us.
30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds, okay. Okay, the first point that I've thought about is improvement of Black African industrialists that are focusing on the localized component. So by that we will be able to develop our country a way better. Thank you.
Thank you. My thought, in the last 2 days that I've been here is, how do we popularize 4IR so it doesn't become a new language, especially to the previously disadvantaged people in the rural areas? How can we encourage it to be part of the, like the educational curriculum? And the second one was, as we were talking about the rail industry, is how do we now, how can we popularize the usage of trains, especially in the upper class? Instead of them going to the Gautrain, how can we bring them back to the normal train? Because there is first class, in there, so it's not like they will not be covered. So I think that's my thought on that, because I can see most of us are no longer using trains, and none of us here are using trains anymore. Thank you.
Okay, so my thoughts on the 4IR technologies, it's we need to localize technologies, because as long as we are depending on Europe and the US and the East, then that means that, as South Africa, we're not gonna get the full benefits, especially with the minerals that we have in the country. So we have great opportunities to create new markets and new industries, but also we need to have academia and industry now coming together, because it cannot be that these projects and these technologies that we are innovating as academia and research councils, that's as far as they go. South African industry needs to come to the party now and say, yes, we can take up these technologies, and this is how we can actually adopt them. We now need to look at African solutions for African problems.
My view is that I think Prof. Butala painted a picture for us that the Germans came up with the 4th IR, and they were trying to solve a problem in their region. He also painted a picture that we seem to be still in 2, 3, and the 4, so we have a mix in our application of these technologies. And then I think to myself about taking the technologies to our situation. How do we ensure that we are not always using the obsolete technologies? How do we do that? There's an app that is called Talk 360, which is mainly, I think it's used in Africa. You can connect to anybody using a line or cell phone on less cost, and it's mainly created for our situation in Africa. You can think about our infrastructure situation in the rail. It's unique. How we use the rail is also unique. Tabiso asked yesterday, how many of you have used the train in the past few months? There were few hands. It just tells us that we have a problem in South Africa about the use of this infrastructure, and we have technologies that we need to use to resolve this, whatever it is that is making the commuters not to use the trains. So why don't you just start thinking about our unique situation and finding solutions for those unique situations? Our infrastructure is in bad condition. What can you do with these technologies to resolve these problems?
Okay, thank you. For me, the key takeaway from the short clip that we just watched, it just reminded me of the PDCA cycle, because when industry spoke, they've highlighted the problems that they are currently experiencing, so meaning that we do know of the problems that we have, and they've committed that there will be sponsorship, so that's part of the planning. And on the do part, there's a lot of researchers in the room who have solutions already, or are in the process of getting solutions. So we just need now to move to the C part, which is the check, where we check if those solutions that they have matches the problems that have been highlighted by industry. And then the main one will be to implement, and I think this is the point where we are. This is the 5th conference, and as some of the people that have been attending for a while, some of the presentation we are familiar with, and they are not yet implemented. So I think now we need to move forward with the implementation part. We know we're not going to solve all the problems in one day, but we need to take one step forward now. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Chair. So mine would be a bit more politically charged. So because before we can talk about, implementing new technologies in the building of the trains, there needs to be a railway line that can take the train to a speed where the use of aluminium parts is feasible. Because if your railway line cannot enable the train to move at 230 kilometers per hour, then why are we building a train that can run at 230 kilometers per hour? So for me, it's a deliberate and intentional effort from all 4 spheres of government. I think they call it the quadruple helix on how can we go back and say the infrastructure that we're building, is it conducive to adopt to these new technologies? So I think I agree more with Utabiso to say, let's go back to the basics. Before we manufacture a bullet train, let's go back and say, where will this bullet train run? Before we want to implement a German car that can fly, in South Africa, the potholes, can we have an Autobahn? So we need to go back to infrastructure, and it needs to be radical, it needs to be deliberate, it needs to be intentional. So unfortunately, let me leave it there.
Okay, thank you for the question. So my takeaway from this is collaboration in making the railway transportation the primary mode of transport in SA, like Mr. Kumako touched yesterday. I'm also saying let's work together to influence the future of rail. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is it on? Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Okay, my take is that to make this work, we need to check the whole system that will enable the rail concept to work. So it's not just the trains themselves, but there's other systems that we need to look into, like the rail networks and the infrastructure. And for me, still, what is important is the collaboration with all the stakeholders, academia, the government, and also the industry for the betterment of this country, so that we all have a common role in a common understanding in solving the problems that we have.
Thank you. I think for me it's a bit of a story, but not a long one. I think we must not see ourselves as horses. Normally when we look at horse racing, people will bet on the horses, fast as lightning, thunder, and we like the names and we bet on the horses. But I think we must see ourselves as jockeys. Each and every one of us is a jockey. The horse could be the problem or the solution we're trying to prove now, but that might not work. But we must not give up. You will ultimately find the right solution if you really keep working at it and trying different options, and not really pinning all your hopes onto one answer or one solution and make it the be-all and end-all. So each one of us are jockeys. We just need to find our right horses. Thank you.
Thank you. For me, on this African Day, again, I'll also go back to, I listed so many things, but top of them on the agenda was affordable, reliable, interconnected infrastructure for Africa. So whether you talk about rail, road, airways, you talk about energy, talk about electricity, it's interconnected, it's available, it's reliable, because that, for me, will be the beginning point. I had a privilege already in the 80s to travel across countries in Europe using rail from one country through 10 countries. So if we can have these available, it will go a long way in enabling. We talk about smartness and so on, but without that connectivity, it will be a dream. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My thought in this matter is to have a very strong R&D team which will work together to obtain new knowledge and may be used to create new technologies, products, services, or systems that they will either use them or sell them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with me is that, what are the political barriers in adopting this technology? Also looking into academics and industry, what is the relevance with regards to education to these new technologies that are evolving? Because if we are looking into adopting these technologies, we would require the knowledge and the skills to be transferred. Should I take additive manufacturing to the line, then how do I now impart the knowledge to an operator to understand the technology and also to be able to use it without me being there? Thank you.
My take with this is that we should be able to be conscious enough with the changes happening around us and align ourselves to them, especially with regards to 4IR. And then we should also, before working towards our goal, believe in ourselves and also try to engage with people of different skills towards working to that goal.
The revitalization of the railway, the starting point is the perception that we have around the trains. I think everything needs to start there. Because I think the perception with the old trains and with the old trains, it's just not good, or the experience with the old trains. So it will still take a very long before we can get there. But I think with awarenesses and introduction of the technologies regarding probably some of your phone's app and all that. But again, here we're talking about electric cars. However, we've got those trains that are already here. So what is it that we are doing? Hello? Yeah. What is it that we do? What is it that we need to do so that because with regards to climate change, we look at the electric cars, we've got trains. So now the trains are here, and the electric cars, we're still looking at the introduction. If not, not really the introduction, but it will still take forever for electric cars to be here. So yeah, I think the train and the awareness, the perception, that just need to be sorted so that we are able to use the train.
Thank you very much. I see there are people online. Dr. Adenuga, are you able to unmute and do your 30 seconds?
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. Yeah, it's echo. Yeah, it's echo. Thank you. I think having been part of this workshop in the last 30 days, I'm happy that we're able to draw out an opportunities that existed in Gibela. I think we've been doing this, and this is the 5th series, and this aligns with the knowledge I gain from a tradition, which is the right way to go. It is to use the growing skills in the universities, which are our graduates and postgraduates, to help solve problems in the industry. And this has to be driven by the industry, because we are supposed to be a center where knowledge is built. But when you build knowledge on nothing, then the actualization of the skill being put into practice will not be met. And I think would say I'm extremely happy because we have built technologies around ourselves. We have developed different technologies waiting to be deployed. But with these opportunities that have been highlighted by Gibela, which will lead us to have another workshop, I think the hope is clearly there for us to explore. Thank you, Prof. And thanks everyone for the contributions.
Thank you very much, Doc. Moving on to Mr. Mohokong. Your 30 seconds. Dr. Aderoba, are you speaking? Kekana?
Kekana?
Hello, sir.
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. My thoughts on this is if we can have a strong collaboration can make this work. As we can identify problems that the industries are facing as the students, and we do our researches. Are researchers really in line, and can they really overcome these problems? I do think, how about if the industry should put out their problems that they're facing, isn't it going to be easy, and isn't it going to make the collaboration easy that we're going to be fixing or working on the actual problems that they know they're facing? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neo. Dr. Aderova, I see your video is on.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Aderoba, you can go ahead and make your comments.
30 seconds on
My
how...
thoughts are to imbibe more of the developed technologies, and such as the artificial intelligence and other agent-based methods, to take more intelligent decisions. Then this will help us project and also revitalize our future transport and manufacturing technologies in Africa. So we should just imbibe more and encourage more of this, these technologies in the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. Moving right along to, I see Mohokong, you're online. Maybe let's end with Mohokong.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Yes, we have heard you.
Yes, we heard you clearly. Younger,
and then
Dr. I have an input to make. Yeah, we heard you clearly, Dr. Aderoba. So we're moving to the next person. Younger, can you please unmute and give us your overview?
Looks like Yonga is not with us, or there is load shedding. Mr. Mohokong?
Younger. Can you please make your own comments?
Maybe there's load shedding there.
So if you don't have any comment to make, Mr. Mokokong, in 30 seconds, before we revert back to yeah. I think those at the workshop can take back the coordination. Seems those of us active online has done our part.
Thank you very much, Doc. You can be muted. Much appreciated.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Are we okay? Thank you very much, technical team. So, finally, you've heard the comments from the room. I guess it has also got a wave of thought running in your head. And based on what you have heard now from the members, I want you to speak to a specific future digital technology that you believe will take us to the promised land in terms of our transport here in the continent, now that it's Africa Day. There was a guy called Cecil John Rhodes. I don't know whether you know that guy. You remember he had a dream. You remember that dream of Cecil John Rhodes? Anyone who remembers the dream? Yes, Alice. You've never heard that story? That there was a guy there was dreaming that there could be a train that could run from Cape Town to Cairo. You never heard that dream? You never heard it? You've heard it today. That guy died without the dream being fulfilled. It was a song. Paul, don't add other spanners here. There was a dream. The dream was that Cape Town and Cairo must be connected with a rail.
Song about it. Yeah.
Now we are talking about Juma Sekela. We are busy here with
it's
the
what he was
colonizers.
referring to. But we are talking about Cecil John Rhodes.
Yes, leave Cecil. Yeah, we are talking about Cecil. We are not talking about those other people. They are good songs, but not now. So, to the panelists, you've heard what they've said. In your opinion, in a minute, because I'm under the guidance of the program director here. In a minute, what is that future digital tech that you think will help us with the infrastructure that we need as a continent to move forward? You have heard what the people have been saying. People have spoken policy. People have spoken technology. What is it, as our learned colleagues, that you can say, you know, this, we need to rally behind this. We need to put resources. We need to put master students. We need to put doctorate students. We need to, there are people here who are looking forward to doing their doctorates and their postdocs, and you know, they are looking for topics. I know that there is a committee that is going to sit to finalize some topics from industry in the coming days. But your views, so that when the committee does sit as well, you can, it builds up, and the chasm that Martin was talking about is not that serious. So I'll start off with UWA in a minute, what tech, you know, and then give the context where you're thinking the tech is applicable, and then we take it up from there. Thank you.
One of the challenges or problem statements that was presented was about thefts. So I think digital security can go a long way to address that problem.
Thank you. I want to agree that myself and Mr. Uwa, we share the same mind on that because what plague the rail industry most in turn that caused them mostly is on the aspect of security. And I want to believe like if we can deploy drones, if we can actually venture into drone using the artificial intelligence understanding, maybe we can, to a large extent, safeguard the infrastructure that has been laid down. Because up to date, there are a lot of high-techs already in place for the manufacture of the rail coaches. But would all these things go into waste? Why not securing them? So drones are one of the high-tech that could be used. And even sensors, there are monitoring and sensors that could be fixed in place for security check. Thank you.
Thank you. From my side, I believe a combination of additive manufacturing and the old manufacturing, such as the autoclaves, if those two can be combined to develop materials with better properties, I think that could be a way, because each of them individually have their own challenges and their own advantages. So a combination of two can work for the future.
Thank you so much. For me, I will go for predictive maintenance to enhance the reliability and availability of the rail car system. And the way to go about it is very simple. Indigenous technology can be developed around this area. And the starting point is to migrate from the what we call smart sensor. It used to be the basic sensor before, but now we have seen smart sensors in use. So we can migrate from the use of that smart sensor to the use of intelligent sensors that incorporates diagnostic and prognostic capabilities. And another step away from that is to ensure that the smart sensor is linked to the Internet of Things infrastructure, so that the data acquired in real time can be easily accessible in real time to people. And then after that, big data capability can be developed to establish, to really understand the relationship between the data acquired in real time. And then a safe repository can be created for the information through the use of cloud computing. So from there you can put in the artificial intelligence for decision making, and then by the way of predictive maintenance, we can pump in historical data to be able to predict the health status of the system in real time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Just speaking on the issue of localization, I believe that additive manufacturing can help us to fast-track localization, and then we can limit the export, that the parts that we import from other countries. Why don't we use AM to localize? Maybe the starting point will be to focus on the raw materials, like what has been said earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, mine is a bit broad, but I think collaboration with government and also their appetite and uptake on these technologies, because mostly their focus is on the number of jobs created, how many people are benefiting, not so much on the efficiency of these technologies. So if you can just get that right, I think I mentioned, one of the students mentioned, I think it's Kosana, mentioned support, policy on innovation. So that's something that needs to be looked at. Thanks.
If you think that our transport situation as a continent looks bright with the ideas that are coming here, I want you to raise your hand. Does it look bright? Does the situation look bright for transport? Were you listening? You know, this is between you and lunch now. So from where I'm seated, ne? Yeah, allegorically. From where I'm seated, I'm not sure if any of these things will transport me anyway. There's hope, but I'm not going anyway. I'm sitting somewhere. So, I'm not sure. I mean, any of the things that they mentioned here, that was transport. Skosan, you think you'll arrive Gwamhlanga if these guys were to be the ones that would make sure that it happens? Would you sleep Gwamhlanga tonight? From what they've said here. I'm not saying that the things that they've said are things that won't work. They're things that will work. But the way I'm looking at it is, the perspective is not a system one. For example, and I'm not doing this to embarrass you, you know, I'm just doing this for us to understand some fundamental things. I mean, we speak AM, that's fantastic, you know, but what are we using AM on? Whose technology are we printing for? Because that conversation is a very important one. Obviously, there's the Gibela train that maybe is also pivoting the way we are thinking here, that, you know, we must fit components into the Gibela train, we must take those IoT devices, stick them to the Gibela train, which is okay, which is fine, maybe to learn. But we must have goals for ourselves to have our own modes of transport that we've developed, and then we take our additive there and additive that. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know, I know I heard some people don't really like Elon Musk, you know, that guy, and the SpaceX stuff and all that. But if you think about it, that guy, what he did, ne? He made sure there was a mode of moving that was created by him, and then everything is being plugged onto that. Whether it's an IoT or it's an additive, it's going into a SpaceX that he created. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Kim, can you hear me? You know, Kim is a young one here, so if she understands, then the others should catch the fire. You do understand? So what I'm saying is that these things that you've spoken about, I'm not saying they're not important, they're very important. IoT devices, AM, all that is very important. But in our heads, when we think about the transport situation, somebody spoke about Limpopo when we're going around, you know? I can't arrive there with an additive machine and say I'm going to solve transport problems. I can't. It's not going to happen, you know? I need to conceptualize a mode that will fit that situation in Limpopo, then maybe come with my additive stuff and my IoT devices, Dr. Tanian. But I can't arrive there and say, for IoT devices, I'm going to do predictive maintenance on what? I don't know whether you're with me. The bogey that the Honorable Paul was speaking about, you know, that bogey, in his head, he's thinking about the Alstom train. It's okay for now, maybe, to be thinking about that. But ultimately, we need to develop our own technologies. I mean, there was that helicopter. What was it called again? Those of you who know that South African helicopter. The Sarah. But Sarah was the plane. Yes. What happened? I mean, that way of thinking, then you work backwards. Then all these other things, the additive, the predictive, they fit into infrastructure that you have IP over and you can control, and no one is going to come and say to you, you know what, you don't have IP here, this is our IP. It sits somewhere in Munich. You must get permission from Munich to start printing this. You can't print anything here. We print them in Munich, you just collect them. That localization that we're speaking about won't happen. So I'm not saying let's abort all our topics that we're doing. Don't get me wrong. Okay? But what I'm saying is the way we think about solutioning our problems needs to be from a perspective where we understand that our challenge is that we are so dependent on the West. That's a fact. And because of that, we are always shivering, you know. If I do this way, if I do this that way, who's going to come and say what? Why am I doing it this way? And we can't function like that. And maybe that's why we're not functioning. Because we're not focusing on saying, okay, maybe one of these master students, rather than, you know, they must just focus on them. Somebody spoke about drones here to do specific things. Why can't we print our own drones that we design here? We print those drones and we print all the components. Dr. Muvunzi, the project that we've been busy with, we've designed that. No one is going to come and tell us about our drone that, no, the IP sits somewhere in Washington. Washington can keep their whatever they have there. We'll keep ours here and do whatever we want to do with it and play around with it and modify it and take it to the CSR and say, CSR, tear this thing apart and do what you please with it because you have control over it. So as we summarize, I'm saying all these things that you are talking about, they're great stuff, you know. But if you listen carefully to what is going around the room, when people speak localization, people think we need to do things for ourselves. There's a mindset that we need to have about the solutions we are creating. So maybe not necessarily that I'm saying let's create the drone, that's what is going to transport us around, but I'm saying the way we are thinking about solutioning our problems. If our solutioning of our problems is dependent on, you know, Beijing, on what Beijing has produced, then we'll always have that element of dependence. But if our solutioning of our problems is driven by us conceptualizing where we want, what we want to be our solution, and then working backwards, and then all these other things fit into that. Because right now we are starting all these technologies, but they are actually fitting into something that doesn't belong to us. And this is why when we come up with something innovative, somebody will say to you, no, you know, the IP for this thing sits in London. So I'm sorry. We'll print in London, or we'll IoT in London. Then you will just get the assembled thing, and then you just need to work with it. You can't. So as we think about that future, I don't know what that future is, you know. But I still want us to go back to the video and close with the video again. Just to cement the things that came up from that video. And as you go home, whether you're planning to do your master's, whether you're planning to do a PhD, think about those things with this last conversation. And Humuto will do the proper job of making sure that you do get a copy of those clips. But we'll also maybe go back and create a little bit more clips as well, so that all of us can be kept well up to speed. Over to you, Humuto. Are you there? Speed. Over to you, Humuto. Are you? Speed. Over to you, Humuto. Are you? To you, Humuto. Are you? Partner with Gibela. Let's look for people who are like-minded, so that, you know, we don't hear about Elon Musk. They're saying that with us coming here and spending time here, how can we create that revolution when the next time people hear that you're going to university, their understanding is that when you come out, you're running to be the next Elon Musk. And at the core of this project, this is what this project is about, you know, and this is why we've deliberately taken this time to say, let's partner with Gibela, let's look for people who are like-minded, so that
you know, we don't hear about Elon Musk on TV, you know, but you can actually say that, you know, there's a place where I assessed, you know, a person was presenting on their research. I gave them a couple of advice. They took it very seriously, and they have moved to a place where a student would have never dreamed they would have been at without that industrial advice.
So I'm trying to say, let us gauge where we are, as much as the models that we are probably still emphasizing are about to be obsolete. But unfortunately, where we are today, we still need to focus on the basics, which is, you know, optimization.
The point around sponsorship, for any projects that we're going to come up with, I will ensure that there is a sponsor for it internally. That makes it easier for access of information, for review of what you have written, if it's okay for public consumption, for support in entering the factory. So without a sponsorship, these other things that you need to support your studies will not be easy.
From a relevance perspective, where are we as a country? Where are we as compared to European countries? We are in the process of revitalizing an industry that has been neglected for years, okay? Versus other countries where they are quite advanced, okay? So it goes to a point of we need to answer to the problems that we have at hand. And the problems that we have at hand is that transport, okay, as a solution is not yet adopted as a primary mode of transport.
We are saying that with us coming here and spending time here, how can we create that revolution when the next time people hear that you're going to university, their understanding is that when you come out, you're running to be the next Elon Musk. And at the core of this project, this is what this project is about, you know, and this is why we've deliberately taken this time to say, let's partner with Gibela, let's look for people who are like-minded, so that, you know, we don't hear about Elon Musk on TV, you know, but you can actually say that, you know, there's a place where I assessed, you know, a person was presenting on their research. I gave them a couple of advice. They took it very seriously, and they have moved to a place where a student would have never dreamed they would have been at without that industrial advice.
So I'm trying to say, let us gauge where we are, as much as the models that we are probably still emphasizing are about to be obsolete. But unfortunately, where we are today, we still need to focus on the basics, which is, you know, optimization.
The point around sponsorship, for any projects that we're going to come up with, I will ensure that there is a sponsor for it internally. That makes it easier for access of information, for review of what you have written, if it's okay for public consumption, for support in entering the factory. So without a sponsorship, these other things that you need to support your studies will not be easy.
From a relevance perspective, where are we as a country? Where are we as compared to European countries? We are in the process of revitalizing an industry that has been neglected for years, okay? Versus other countries where they are quite advanced, okay? So it goes to a point of we need to answer to the problems that we have at hand. And the problems that we have at hand is that transport, okay, as a solution is not yet adopted as a primary mode of transport.
So, thank you very much to the panelists, and thank you very much to all of you for participating. I think this is a nice take home that we really need to think about and ask ourselves continuously. This is not a question that you ask yourself at the workshop and you forget about, but you continuously ask yourself and continuously ask yourself until we get the answers we're looking for. And those answers are the social impact that happens to Gogo Dlamini, who sits in the middle of nowhere and struggles to go and get her medication, struggles to get across the river, to get where she needs to get to, and to get to the connected places that she wants to be connected to. And so thank you very much, panelists. I hope the discussion is not going to speed you to running to write a lot of papers at the expense of also solutioning and ending up with a solution that you can always point to and write more papers about when the solution is working for the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was looking at the time. I think I'm on time. So I think probably we must just have some games, you know, the last ones, so that we go. You know, eh? I think you must just start packing, guys. Those ones who have got their laptop still open. For me, it's telling me that you guys still want to work. So please pack everything in front of you. Before I call Prof to come to front, just to say a few remarks in terms of closing. The guys online, thank you very much. I wish you guys were here because you are actually missing out. We're gonna have a beautiful lunch now, you know. So you're really missing out, unfortunately. So, Leabulela, I'm talking, you're talking. Yo! You know I'm in control of time here. So, and then while I'm talking, you guys are talking. You just wasted another 5 minutes. No, it's not a threat. It's a reality. So guys, until I can hear where there's no one talking here. Thank you. Prof, you can come forward.
I must do a confession here. You know, Hauhelo was one of my master's students in the structured master's course. And there are other few who are seated here when I still used to take a few courses in the master's, you know. And yeah, those classes were very strict. You arrive late, you sit outside until we take a break, then you come in. You make noise, we ask you to leave the class, and you know. So I'm seeing that it looks like the teachers' practices have not fallen on the ground. They've been quickly replicated to another level. So thank you very much, Program Director. I think we've appreciated our Program Director in advance, isn't it? So we don't have to go to that chapter. So thank you very much for leading us out today. We've had a fantastic morning, an efficient one too. We wanted to do much more in our program for today, but we decided that in the interest of what Prof. Munda suggested earlier on, that it's important that when we come here, we mustn't just go back without having the opportunity. So you need to thank Prof. Munda. So we took out some things from the program, but I think overall, the goal of us having this workshop has been exceeded. And that is thanks to each and every one of you, your contributions, your participation, your hard work. And so I would kindly ask that maybe you give yourselves a round of applause for. Secondly, we want to thank the technology team that has given us much more visibility than we could have got by just being here. I think sometimes, you know, you got people that you think that, hey, they're just walking around up and down non-stop, but they're making the things happen. And Dr. Mate couldn't participate in the first 2 days, so she participated online. Dr. Mate, you can show with a thumbs up that from the other side of the world, you are getting it also, what was coming from this end. So that leaves us with no option but to give the media team a round of applause as well. So thank you, team. I also want to appreciate Mr. Kulegani. He's not really part of the work that we're doing at the center, though slowly there seems to be something that is coming up, but he took time out of his schedule. Once in a while, you'd have to go and rush and sign a business deal, then still come back here, you know. Other people will sign 5 million and then decide that, you know what, for the rest of this week, I'm doing nothing. But he was signing these things and coming back here. So we want to thank you, Kulegani, and we are looking forward to some of the ambitious ideas that you have, us sitting down, collecting them and narrowing down and maybe focusing on one specific one, the low-hanging fruit, and making it work, and then, you know, repeating the story again. And then we want to thank the executives from Gibela, even though they've left. Please send the message that we thank them again. You know, when you meet them, before you say good morning, sir, say that Prof thanked you, then say good morning. You know, he thanked you again after you had left, because I think their coming here was very significant for the young people who are here to recognize that Prof is not selling us a pie in the sky. You know, you always talk, no, me, I met with the executives. Oh, you met with the executives, okay, you know. But when they come here, you know, the young people who are energetic, I mean, they witness the energy. I mean, that energy that was in this room when one of those presentations was happening, you know which one. You couldn't have experienced it except you were here. You needed to be here, even online. I'm not sure if Dr. Mate got it the way we got it here. You didn't get it, you here. So, yeah. So they were here, and the energy was on point, you know. And I think wherever they are, you know, I think we must pick up some clips, small clips for that specific energy, so that we just remind them with them, you know, that you remember this one, so that they don't forget, at least they forget. So thank you to them, and also please do thank the CEO and the rest of the team there, because I know that the CEO is also committed to sitting on the board of the Institute of the Future of Work. So we are very grateful as a university for the support we are getting from Gibela. I think as a young enterprise, you know, you are really leading the pack in this regard in terms of partnerships. So please do send our gratitude back to the colleagues at the plant. And of course, Bongeka, you know, I must mention you one by one. Nonhlanhla. You're not running away now. Luvuyo, Olivia, all of you would have, you know, decided, you know what? Hey, we've done this thing too much, Prof. Please choose other people. But you come again, you know, and you spent your time engaging the work that is being done here and trying to put it on the straight and the narrow. So thank you so much. We are looking forward to, you know, having you again. I think you're coming here. You must never underestimate it. The comments that you make, you know, like we said, they may create the next, you know, big entrepreneur in Africa. You know, we mustn't model ourselves other people anymore. The next big entrepreneur in Africa, you know. So those comments, very valid, on point, on the mark. And then Mulalo as well, thank you so much for leading the team and being present here. We know that you've got 6 trains to deliver every month. And even the people from Productivity SA, we're like, yeah, something is happening here. But you are here, it shows commitment. We really appreciate you. And then Dr. Mate, you as well, we know you're busy, trying to make sure that this additive technology is localized, it's developed here, powder is made, but you took time to come here to be part of the conversation, so thank you so much, and we're looking forward to the work that we need to do to get the first component that is additively manufactured on the Gibela train. That's the idea. Yes. So that one, I think when the committee does it, we must just have that note there that there's commitment here around additive, and so that we also remember to include that one, even if it's not a really structural component, starting component, even if it's the least important component, but that component that will make it onto the Sunday Times, in the front page, that first CSIR component on the locally manufactured Gibela train. That will be a day that all of us can be happy on. And then finally, I want to thank Prof. Munda. Prof. Munda has always supported us through the years. He's made time. He's a very busy man, but in the midst of his busyness, even now he's acting executive dean. He's here with us, and for us, it's a commitment that we cannot take lightly. So to the master's students, the undergraduates, I think you need to stand up and give Prof. Munda a standing ovation for his support to the work that we're doing. You see, Prof. Munda studied in Japan, and in Japan, you... Thank you very much. Who have I forgotten? If I haven't forgotten you, if I've forgotten you, know that even though maybe I'm losing my memory a bit, maybe it's because it's almost lunchtime, but you're not forgotten. Of course, Humutso, I think she deserves also a round of applause for today she responded, so that is beautiful. So from my side, ladies and gentlemen, you can still walk around, our ticket ends at the end of the day here, so you don't have to run away. You can put on your hiking shoes, go up the mountain. Earlier on, we went up the mountain, got a bit lost, but it's okay. I mean, that's part and parcel of coming here, and still found our way back home. It's just that depending on who you're traveling with, you just need to make sure that if you are, on the transport situation, you are not left behind with the transport, because it may be very difficult for you to walk back to Pretoria. So just manage that appropriately. But enjoy the lunch. I think the lunch is served, and then after the lunch, it's up to you. You want to walk by the river, you want to walk up the mountain, yes, the water is running also. Those other people who believe in the water running and washing at the water that is running. You can pass by there as well, and do what you need to do before you go back to Pretoria, and leave those things of at the river there. So thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch.